Welcome, Dr. Leilanie. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I am going to allow you to introduce yourself and allow you to go right into your session.
Okay. Thank you, Sisi, and thank you, Nikki, for hosting this webinar for all of us to share with the community. I'm very delighted to be able to do so today. All right, I'm going to share my slides shortly. Hang on. So yes, I'm Leilanie. I was an academic and a researcher for about 15 years. And in 2013, I decided together with my partner to set up an advisory firm, a family business advisory firm in Malaysia, because we found that it was a gap. Most advisors in Malaysia are, from either the big four companies or accounting firms. So we found that this would be an area whereby we find we could contribute to help family businesses, especially in the angle of relationship, communication, conflict resolution, and so on. So with that, I'm going to start my session. Today, looking at Malaysia. This is just a snapshot of where we are in Malaysia. About 67% of businesses in Malaysia are family owned. And also similarly, I believe in Africa, in Europe, there's a huge percentage of representation of family businesses in the economy. These slides, the following two slides, I'm going to share with you what the response of our participants and clients when we did some workshops in the past. So we asked family businesses what their core values is in their family. And as you can see, one of the biggest word cloud there is respect, honesty, integrity, trust. Yeah. But when we did a session for advisors, we had a workshop for family business advisors and also accounting firms. We asked them, what do you think are the core values of their clients? So these are the things that they say. Yeah, you could see that trust seems to be coming up a lot. Yeah, sustainability, loyalty, stability, and so on. So I'm sharing these two slides because I wanted to show what the family thinks, what their core values is, as opposed to what advisors think, what the family businesses' core values are. Okay. Now let us look into, I call this my 3 scenarios when I do my sessions. The first scenario is on decision making. The second is at time of crisis. And the third is when we are going through a succession process. So what are the values and virtues that comes into place in these 3 scenarios? So let's look at the first scenario, which is decision making. Now, we could see that Morfast is a company. They've been around for 43 years. The 3 gentlemen you see below is the next generation. We've been working with them in terms of going in to find out and doing research and so on. I think we've done it for already 10 years. And we found that when it comes to decision making, especially when it comes to venture creation, because Morphas is a company that is very diversified. They are in hospitality, automotive, manufacturing of F&B, and many, many more. Yeah, even property. So as they embark into one venture into the other, we found that the trustworthiness and speed is very prominent when it comes to the values that the founder try to inculcate and try to share among his family members as well as the employees. Yeah, so trust is very important. And you could see on the right side of the slides, it says that he gives priorities, to his next generation to continue to seek ventures, and he takes time to listen to them. Yeah, so these are a part of inculcating being trustworthy, and also to ensure that there is speed when they decide on a venture creation. So the founder's name is Haji Muhammad Fauzi Abdul Hamid. Quoting him, "My first level of information is from reading, my traveling, my observation. That's where ideas comes first. And then, of course, I sit down with my family and speak about it." So the values of learning and also communication is clearly seen in the Morphas group. Yeah, the picture you see here is their celebration of their 43rd anniversary. This was just about 2 months ago in January. Another thing that we found as we speak to him, Fauzi is being guided by 3 principles. The first is he raised his children to the right religious path. He follows sedekah, or the art of, or the act of giving charity, yeah, as much as you can afford, and also to transfer knowledge. Yeah, so these 3 principles again is in line with the values of charity, faith, and learning. Next, let's look into succession, the second scenario. This is a company called Karang Craft. They are the largest printers in Malaysia. We've been going in and out speaking with them, not only the founder, but the second generation for the past 12 years. And when he talks about succession, he has been doing this for more than 15 years. And in doing so, you could see that they are doing it with strong religious foundation, ensuring that the next generation is prepared, ensuring that the company maintains the existing values while they adapt to changes. And they also make sure that the next generation who goes through the succession process will use the available resources to add value, not just among the family members, but also to the company. So the values that I'd like to share here, which is quite visible, is faith, resourcefulness, and also communication. So there are some links here that you could see. These are videos that we've done together with Karang Craft. One is on succession planning and branding, and the other one is on virtues. But the video on succession planning, if you have time to view it, you will see that the founder talks about how important values is, yeah, and how important it is to pass it down to the next generation, not just within the family, but also with the employees. Yeah, they also want to make sure that the core values of the family, especially to show that the family is caring, is being demonstrated through examples of taking care of each other during difficult times. You know, if an employee goes through a long-term medical leave, the family will continue to support the employee. If the employee's children needs to pursue an education and requires scholarship, Karang Kraft goes in and help the employee to provide scholarship for their employees and the next generation, or rather their children. So you can see that this is the caring values that is clearly exhibited in Karang Kraft. Other than that, you could see that because the next generation are being groomed over 15 years, and I believe this is in their 17th year. Yeah, you could see that this is a commitment towards integrity and also stewardship. Yeah, integrity to show a value whereby the employees and the family knows that the process of succession is being done in a manner which is through a process which is understood by the families and also the employees. So when we talk about values such as caring, sharing, and relationship, this is how Karang Kraft does it. Yeah, they have what they call the makan session. Makan means eat in our Malay language. So they have potluck session on Friday afternoons, whereby they encourage employees together with the family members to bring food from home and to be shared with everybody. Yeah, so each department will carry out the makan session on Friday afternoons, and the main reason is they want to develop a family approach. They believe that by sharing food together, the co-workers, employees would be more able to speak about their family and vice versa. Yeah, in the words of Firdaus, in the last line that you see there, Firdaus is the next generation, the daughter of the founder. The family values actually become stronger when we have makan sessions together. Yeah. Moving on, the third scenario, in times of crisis. So we are all facing this pandemic, COVID-19. But as a family business, what do you do? Other than, going in, we hear a lot of companies going in to provide donations and helping and feeding the poor. But some of the things that is prominent in this company called Top Glove. Top Glove is the largest manufacturers of glove in the world. It's based in Shah Alam, where I am based at. Yeah, and in the words of country Dr. Lim Wee Chai, who is the executive chairman, he says that when we are healthy and doing well, we must remember to thank others who have contributed and appreciate what we have. So this is a value of thankfulness. Yeah. At the same time, if you view the videos that I have shown up here, the links are shown in red, and if you were to look and hear what Dr. Lim is saying, you could see that he is concerned about his employees. He clarifies matters. He talks about how important it is to stay healthy and be healthy, and this is a true way of showing that a good leadership values that comes into play. Yeah, so communicating, being clear about what he's saying, ensuring his employees are taking good care of themselves while at work. It's not just to show and to promote good leadership, but it's also to communicate to stakeholders, because they are a public listed companies, to communicate to the stakeholders how important it is to stay healthy and be thankful, and inform how Top Gloves is doing it when it comes to ensuring that the employees are also being taken care of while at work during these difficult times. This is a Thursday column that I have on my site. I call it Dr. Lay Answers. But most recently, I had a question that asked about how would large family businesses, respond to CSR practices. Yeah, so what I've replied in my answer here is whether it's a small family business such as Go Job, whereby they help the marginalized community. They bring them together and they cook together and they deliver food for the frontliners and also single mothers. And then you have companies like Karang Craft that through their media arm, they came up with Sinar untuk COVID frontliners, meaning it means that, you know, a light for COVID frontliners. So through their publishing arm, they aid towards collecting large sums of donations to be given to the frontliners. And the last is a large family business, Mahsing Group Berhad. They are into property development and so on, whereby they have donated an amount of almost 4 million in critical care ventilators. So all this shows the values of family businesses we have in Malaysia, the values of being charitable, values of being generous, compassion, and also humility. Yeah. Now, how does values translate to virtues? All right, so let's go back to the case of Karang Craft. You could see in the circle there, that is the founder, Dr. Husamuddin. And Dr. Husamuddin is a small built person. Yeah. So his parents used to tell him that, you know, Husamuddin, because you are physically small, what matters is your character. Yeah, you have to show that you have a good character, hence having good habits and good virtues. So for Husamuddin, who's only about 5'2", I think, yeah, for him, he always talks about faith. Yeah, he goes back to religion. Yeah, the values of faith. For him, his end in mind is, when I die, I want to go to heaven. So having that end in mind makes him plan his strategies and plan his doing and act to do all the good things so that he gets to go to heaven. Not just him, but he preaches that to his employees and also to his, or definitely his family members. Yeah, so it's embedded in faith and religion. Of course, the idea of sharing is also a very clear values that we see in Karang Craft. We've seen the example of having the Friday potluck with employees, but Dr. Husamuddin was telling us that when he was young, he has 6 siblings, but his mother was also taking care of other cousins. Yeah, so, you know, back then they were poor. The mother will fry, you know, 2 fish, and they will share among 12 people in the house. So this sharing in the family becomes, you know, started at a very young age. And today, you know, Husamuddin ensures that his next generation, his employees, are also having the values of sharing and generosity. Yeah, so in this picture you see here, those who are standing are all the next generation. They are not all from Dr. Husamuddin's immediate next gen, or the gentleman on his left is who's sitting down is Datuk Nasir. Yeah, but the next generation are also nephews, yeah, of these 2 founders. So let's look at character building. If we say that character building is how you behave. Yeah, so take for example the case of Karangkraf. That's Dato' Husamuddin in his younger years. You could see that, in fact, if you could see the entire picture, you could see that Husamuddin was the unique one. He has that, the cowboy hat, and so on. A very innovative, creative person. Yeah. So values of generosity, charity, integrity, humility, stewardship, and caring. So how do you act and have this character in you? Yeah. So we believe in our study, we believe that, how the family behaves shows how the company behaves. Yeah. So the family character will reflect in the company's character. So that is why for Husamuddin, it's very important that these values is clearly seen and is being acted out by the family members, because this family character will be clearly seen in the company character. Yeah, the company has about 1,500 employees. Yeah, so that's why it's important to show this character building. All right. So let's look at character. What actually do we mean by characters? What are the virtues, or the opposite of it is, or the vices? Yeah, we know that values are good characteristics that a person should have, and the action of it is virtues. Yeah, the action of values is virtues. So the act of giving, the act of caring, the act of doing good, these are good virtues, as opposed to vices. Yeah, vices can be, in this picture you see here is corruption, for example, or being irresponsible by throwing chemical waste. Yeah, in the picture you see here, these are vices. These are, things which are not of good character. Yeah, so as a family business, how we behave, how the family behave is the character. Yeah, is reflected in their virtues, in the act that they do. Yeah, if they do bad things, then the character is bad. Yeah. So as we go along, okay, so a character of a person or a character of a family business is a sum of a person's virtues and vices, because not every, not one person would have 100% good virtues, right? We are all humans, we make mistakes. Yeah, but how do you ensure and continue to consciously tell yourself that I have to do good? Yeah, I have to project a good character. More so, representing a family business, we have to show, that the family has good values projected through the family character, projected through the good virtues, so that it can be seen as a company character. Then the employees will also embrace, and slowly learn, to embrace the good family values that is being inculcated through values and culture. So again, virtues and vices are habits, and habits can be learned by practice. We all have read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So if you do good and you want to do good, you can learn, because it can be a habit. Yeah. And if you want to do bad, all the vices, and you continue to do it, then it will become a habit. Yeah. So what we are saying here is, if the values that a person has is continuously being practiced through the act of virtues, then the values will slowly be an act of then the values, I repeat that again, then the values will slowly change to become virtues, meaning what you practice every day becomes a virtues. Yeah. So if you continuously tell yourself that you need to act in a trustworthy manner, that we need to be sincere in our dealings, that we need to be generous, that we need to be humble. If we continue to tell ourselves to have these values and we make this into a practice, when it becomes a habit, it is a virtue. Yeah, a positive virtue. Similarly, if you practice vices, then then it becomes it becomes something that is seen in your character. All right. So what I want to say here is, let's look into the difference between character and virtue as opposed to culture and values. Yeah. So in most companies, we have our vision and mission, and we have our values and culture that we want to embed in the organization. So having them on the wall, yeah, for example, these are merely just words that you put on the wall, but how do you actually practice it? How do you make it into a character? Yeah, how do you actually practice it? Yeah. So what we are saying here is, when we talk about culture and values, we claim, the company says, we put it on the wall, we try to embrace it, we try to inculcate it in the company, that we have it. Yeah, those are culture and values. But when we talk about character and virtue, this is how you act on it. Yeah. So I think one example that I see a lot, especially lately with the COVID-19 pandemic, when, for example, our government of Malaysia, when they announced some economic packages, yeah, how family businesses react to those things, and how they react towards packages that is designed or given to the poor. Yeah, how you embrace what is being spoken of by the government. Yeah, if you are what we call this, in disagreement for the little things that the government is giving to the poor during these difficult times, what does it say about the character of the person? Yeah. So going back to the case of Karangkraf, yeah, when we say that to him, his goal is when he dies, he wants to go to heaven. So in whatever they do, it's not just for the money's sake. Yeah, virtue is for its own sake and not for money. Yeah, whatever you do is you do good. There is a discussion about, how does that reflect in organizations when they have all this strategic planning, whereby they carry out all these CSR activities, and sometimes the activities that they do is for the purpose of branding and communication. Yeah, which ultimately leads to profit. So when we think about it, the act or the act of doing all these activities, is it embedded because of the character of the person, the act of the virtues of the person, or is it because it's the act of ensuring that the company leads to profit? Yeah, so we are not saying that profit is bad, but what we're saying is virtues and character building is a very complicated area to look at, and there are various school of thoughts, but what is important is to see at the end of the day, during difficult times, what is the true character that comes out of a person, especially? Yeah. So going back to that, I'd like to highlight that when it comes to virtue, ethics, and practice, it doesn't matter what religion you are, or whether you are, a Muslim, or a Christian, or a Buddhist, or a Hindu, or whatever religion that you embrace. Yeah, the concept of character and virtue is focused on your practice and habits. And usually these things are very much consistent with religion and Asian philosophy. Yeah, as opposed to modern science. Yeah, when we look into strategic management and so on and so forth, these are behaviors. Yeah, which are not rationalized by ideals. Yeah, ideals meaning the what is consistent with traditional religion and Asian philosophies. Yeah, so at the end of the day, how we behave, balancing between our religious background, our cultural background, what we believe in, is a balance between that and how we act when we are in a organization setting. Yeah, so that shows what kind of a person we are. Yeah, so family businesses who are able to distinguish this and balance this, it will clearly show what kind of a character the person is, the family is, and ultimately what the company character is at the end of the day. All right. So in the words of Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Jeffrey Chia, who is the founder of Sunway Group, they are a property developer and into education and into hospitality. In his words, as you make your way through life's journey, I hope you will do so with integrity as your guide, humility as your virtue, and the pursuit of excellence as your choice. So with that, I thank you, and I'd like to open this to question and answers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leilanie, for such an interesting presentation and a more in-depth understanding of virtues and values and how they correlate. I really enjoyed that. For everybody who's with us this morning, if you can just please use the chat box or the question and answer box at the bottom of your screens to send through questions for Dr. Leilanie. I think she'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And we do have a couple of questions here over at chat. I think Nikki can kick us off with those.
Yes, we have one. Which specific family values do you think hinder the multi-generational success of family businesses and wealth?
Hinders.
Hinder, yeah. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. I think values that will hinder. If families of the next generation do not have that learning values, yeah, and also I believe do not have that stewardship values, those two things can hinder the growth or sustainability of the family business. And I say this because if families of the next generation do not continue to learn, and at the same time do not take on the responsibility to be a steward, yeah, then the fact that the family can continuously grow in a very cohesive manner, in a harmonious manner, would be disrupted. Yeah. So I think not learning, and also not having that stewardship, not having those two things, it will hinder family business, especially for the next generation.
Right, we have question from Neon, and the question is, the act of bribing is especially bad in Malaysia. What would you do if you are one of a second generation family member realizing that your family business has a problem with this integrity?
Yeah. I think the issue of bribery is something that our government is also trying very hard to address this matter. Coming from a family business, I think at the end of the day, if bribery is seen in family businesses, especially if the next generation would like to voice this out, I think what is important is to be able to communicate this, speak to someone that they can trust, maybe a family advisor, or maybe a trusted current generation. Speak it out, communicate, and highlight this together, and voice out why this is bad for the family business, and voice out why changes needs to be done to ensure that good practices, yeah, can be demonstrated in the family business.
We have a comment from Olasukomi. This is one of the best webinars I've attended in recent times. So impactful. So well done,
Thank you.
Leilanie. And then we have a question from Raj. Great to hear another fellow Malaysian on this webinar. My question is, how do you create intergenerational success in a multicultural / multiracial society like Malaysia, whilst promoting intercultural racial well-being?
Okay, yeah. So to give a background of Malaysia, yeah, we have three prominent races: the Malays, the Chinese, and the Indians. We gained our independence in 1957, and I think we are living in a very harmonious country. There are challenges, definitely, but for family businesses, the way I see it, when I interact with next generation, most next generation are educated overseas. Yeah, they are sent overseas. They have a bigger world viewpoint. They are more exposed culturally. They are more exposed in how they even how they speak, and how they interact, and how they communicate, and the way I see family businesses when it comes to next generation also, most businesses, they will help each other, yeah, regardless. No doubt that when we look into the Chinese will do most of their businesses with the Chinese, the Malays will do likewise, yeah, but there are so many also examples whereby companies of different races will work together to make it happen, yeah, because at the end of the day, you want the business to prosper, yeah. So the next generation, because they see their parents doing that, the next generation will also follow suit. Plus the fact that I said they are also educated overseas. They have a larger viewpoint of what culture, and race is about, I think they are more open, and I think in future we would be able to see better relationship among next generations of different races.
Right. We have another question from Ola Sukami, and the question is, what do you do when your family value is pure integrity, but you operate in a society where businesses are choked and killed for choosing integrity?
Yeah. So I to this, yes, it's very challenging. It's very challenging when you have integrity as the core of your values, and the way you behave and what you say and what you do and how you act, you know, projects how, you know, you appreciate and you value integrity. But when you are in a society or in an economy, or, you know, in a very challenging ecosystem when it comes to having to be working with integrity, behaving integrity, I think at the end of the day, I personally believe that to continue to uphold your integrity, doing good will not take you to the wrong path. You know, doing good, continuously doing good, will do good to you and your family. It will not get you into a hot soup. Once you relax the fact that, oh, I have to relax something because, you know, I'm feeling the pressure. Once you do that, then especially you yourself, consciously, you will not feel good about yourself. And then definitely your close family members, your employees will then question what happened to integrity in this company. Yeah. So to me, I think it's important that you continue to uphold and believe that doing good will be good for the long run.
And we have another question from DS Balami. A lot of family businesses fail after the demise of the founder, even when the founder has done his best to pass on all the values needed. What do you think could be done to keep the family together for the sustainability of such companies?
Okay. So to me, to ensure that the family stays together in good or bad times, even though we know that, for example, the founder has already inculcated good values, I think the next generation should continue not just to speak on what are those good values, but to act on it. Yeah, if you don't act on it, then it would not be in you. Yeah, so bear in mind that good values is what you have, is what you claim to have. Virtues is how you act on it. Yeah, is how you behave, is your character. So if you want to continue to have these good values, the family, the next generation should continue to act on it. One of the things I think is a good value, yeah, a good values for the family is communication. You need to continue to communicate, because usually when a father or a mother dies, the siblings will kind of fall apart, not just in business, but even in personal relationship, because parents are the one that binds the children. If the parents has passed away, you know, and the children are adult, married, have their own families, definitely if you don't continue to communicate with your siblings and your family, have your once a month meeting, have your once a month meet up with all the nephews and nieces, talk about, you know, talk about the founder, talk about how good it was, then I believe this togetherness, this communication, this cohesion will ensure continuity, yeah, and sustainability for the business, yeah, because families who are in harmony usually talks and communicate and respect each other, yeah. They need to meet often, and they need to talk often, and they need to have good times often, yeah. And that, I hope, will ensure sustainability in the family business.
We have one last question from Basil, and the question is, we have family businesses that have projected some of the values and characters highlighted like Abiola, but were unable to survive the founder, like the Abiola group of companies. Why is that?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
We have family businesses that have projected some of the values and characters highlighted, like Abiola, but were unable to survive the founder.
Okay.
And so why is that?
Okay, I'm not so sure with what it means by unable to survive the founder.
I think maybe after the founder passed on, although the company had good values and characters, they didn't manage to sustain the family business afterwards. So why is that?
Yeah, okay, I get you. So I think this is similar to the previous question. I think we believe that our parents have given us good values. We have good times when the parents were alive, or the founder was alive. But when he passes on, the children are left to care for themselves and to care for the family and to care for the family business. Yeah. Perhaps what is lacking, because I'm not familiar with the family business that is being mentioned here. Perhaps what is lacking is a stewardship. Yeah. So in any family businesses, when the founder has passed on, we need to have one leader who is carrying on that torch as a steward. Yeah, it does not mean it doesn't mean that it has to be the eldest child or the eldest brother or the eldest sister, but someone who is able to bind everybody together. Yeah, a stewardship that carries the philosophy of the founder, continues to carry that philosophy of why we are in this together. Yeah, why are we doing this together? Why is important for us to continue for the next 50 years, 100 years? So that steward needs to be identified so that he can carry that voice of the founder. Yeah, and at the same time to ensure that communication is open and is the families are together often, meet up often, eat together often, yeah, and discuss on matters, be it sensitive or casual issues often. Yeah, so I think like my previous answer, I would say that it's important for families to be together, communicate together, talk together, even when the founder or the parents are no longer around. Yeah, because this is what family is. Family sticks together. Yeah.
Right. There is another last question. I'm sure this is the last one from DS Balami, and it is values the only qualification, or does the dream and philosophy have to be accepted by all?
So I go back with, or I go back to communication as a value. Yeah. And I believe communication is very important. So we can have vision, mission, philosophy, dreams, ideas, those of our founders or great grand uncles and so on, you know, that is part of the family business. But if it's not communicated to the next generation, then the next generation will not understand. Yeah. So yes, philosophy matters. Yes, dreams matters. But we need to speak about it. We need to talk about it. Then the next generation will understand it. And this can be done through many ways. It can be done by writing a book. Yeah, that's why sometimes people have, books about the founders. We can have videos, yeah, the milestone of the founder, the company, that highlights the dreams and the philosophy of the founder, yeah, and have articles and so on and so forth. Yeah, so these are all content whereby it's being shared. And this sharing is communicating to the next generation. So when you do that, then, it lives on. Values, philosophies, and dreams of the founder or even the next generation would live on from one generation to the other, and is being understood. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leilanie. You can tell that this has been very insightful from the number of questions and comments we've received. Honestly, this has been an excellent webinar on the importance of character, virtues, values in the family enterprise. And it's a message that's very much needed in our societies. We'd be happy to have you on board again and have further conversations with you on this. So this message can be spread out. So thank you so much for your time. Should anyone want to contact you, how can they best do that?
Yeah, okay. So you can do that with, I have this slide. You see, my hashtag is communication. It starts with communication. With communication, there will be cohesion. With cohesion, then you will have business continuity. Yeah, so I can be contacted on this various social media. At the bottom is my email address, leilanie@binapavo.com. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Nikkei and Sisi, for organizing this, for me to be able to speak to this wonderful platform, to share and to also learn through the questions that is being posted here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.